So we're going to do a quick little video on making a name tag, a Shrinky Dink name tag. So let's see, what do I need to make a Shrinky Dink name tag? I need to have, well, inside craft kit number, craft bag 3-2, there should be another little bag. Oh, here it is. Name tag 3-1 bag. Let's take a look at that. And I'm going to seal this up. Oh, pirate fell over. Seal that up. We don't need any more of that. And I'm going to need some colored pencils. Let's just spill those. Okay. And I'm going to need, I don't need my journal. I don't need my journal. Oh, what's that tape? What is in here? Oh, I am going to need a piece of Shrinky Dink film. Happens to be taped inside my journal. So handy. All right. We've got, let's see what's in the bag. Let's make sure, oh, this pirate keeps falling over. Let me put you over here with your buds. We'll just have you lie down. Let's see what's in my baggie. Well, I have a sheet of glue dots. And I have an Energizer battery. And this black thing is actually a piece of sandpaper. More on that in a bit. I have a super awesome Wonderlab 2020 piece of acrylic. I have a magnet. And I'm supposed to also have a LED in here somewhere. I don't see it in, oh, it's attached to the magnet. Let's take that off, put it there. And notice that the magnet has two parts. The actual magnet part, which is black. Oh, it's so tough, this magnet. And then it's a piece of metal. And on the metal, it's got this white stuff. We're going to talk about that in a second. But those are the things that you need to have. First thing we're going to do is we're going to assemble the name tag. Now this guy right here is the name tag base. It's a piece of acrylic. And you'll notice that it's got some smudges on it. It cleans up super nicely. You can take a cloth towel. And you'll notice that in the name tag, there's also some pieces of plastic that didn't quite come out. So you have to be very gentle. Be very gentle, because otherwise the letters will break. If the letters break, it's not the end of the world. But let's take that piece of plastic out. And there's some other little pieces in the O's and the 0, and we'll fix that later. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do with this name tag is, if you notice, it's got some holes right above the A. We're going to put the LED in that hole, okay? Notice that the LED has two wires and one of them is longer. One of them is longer. We want the long wire on the top. So here's what it looks like. Long wire on the top. And we're going to fold that long wire flat. I'm going to push it right against the acrylic. I'm trying to make it focus. I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, so it's flat, all right? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our battery. We're going to get it out of the wrapper. And I want you to notice that the battery has a plus on one side, and notice that it wraps kind of around the side. So the top is plus, positive, and the sides are also positive. There we go. Now the back side is negative. It doesn't say negative, but it's negative. So what we want to do is we want to put the plus side directly on the longer wire, because the longer wire is the positive. Now I'm going to use a tool for the next step because it will be a little bit easier for you to see, but you don't need to use this kind of a tool, okay? This tool is called forceps. Sometimes it's called a clamp. I'm sure the doctors watching this are saying, that's a forceps clamp. But I don't know for sure. But it's a grabber. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that battery. It fell off. We're actually going to glue the battery here in a moment. But what we have to do is kind of tricky, because what we want is we want that wire that's still sticking up to touch the back of the battery, but we don't want it to touch the side. So if I give it a little bend, and I give it another little bend, I can do that. Now you notice it's still not touching, but when I push it in, it touches, and the light, the LED, the light emitting diode, starts changing colors. Okay? So I don't know if you guys, I think you all have had a little bit of science to talk about an LED. Let's see if I can get it in focus. So actually, in this tiny piece of plastic, this is a sealed piece of plastic, isn't one LED, not two, 3 LEDs. Can you tell which colors are in there? There's green, there's blue, and there's red. RGB, red, green, blue. And also inside there is a teeny tiny chip, a little microcontroller telling it to go through this sequence. Okay? All right. So I know, what do I know? I know that my LED works. It's not working right now because that wire is not touching, so I'm going to fix that in a second. But notice that if I push the battery too far, let's clamp it back down. I really need you to focus now, camera. There we go. If I push the battery too far, then that wire touches the side and it's a short. So you can't push it too far. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take this battery away, and I'm actually going to move this wire so it's closer, and then I'm going to try and squeeze that battery underneath. And now it's going to be not enough space for the battery, so if I bend it just a teensy, it'll kind of act like a clamp. Okay? So there I go. So what you can do is you can walk around and just hold this up, and we can put your name on there, and you can hold it like a business card, and you can go, hey, I'm Matt. Here's my LED that changes colors. Or you can keep with me and we'll keep going. Okay? So we're going to take that battery out. Now we're going to talk about glue dots. Glue dots. Glue dots are magical. Now on this, you have several glue dots. In fact, you have 3 columns or 4 columns and 3 rows. So you have 12 glue dots. We only need one of the glue dots for the next step. So we're going to, paper is perforated. Okay. We're going to peel the plastic. There's a piece of plastic and a piece of paper. Peel the plastic off, and we don't want to touch that glue dot, because if we touch that glue dot, the oil from our body, we have oil on our body, on our skin, it will go on the glue and it will make it not as sticky. You guys already know this because you work with tape, right? Okay, so that's the same thing. So we're going to take this and we're going to attach the dot to the positive side. Now, do you think there's any of our oil on the shiny side of the battery, the positive side? I bet there is. So let's give it a little rub. See if we can get that oil off if there was. Maybe we can't see it. And now we're going to take the glue dot and we're going to press it. Now I'm pressing on the piece of plastic that is still attached to the glue dot. And we're going to press it and really smush it in. A lot of people don't know this, but glue and tape really likes to be smushed to be activated. Okay, now there's the glue dot, and can you see it? But it has the plastic attached. I'm going to slowly remove that piece of plastic. And now I'm going to pick up, we don't want to touch the glue dot. I'm going to pick up my piece, and I'm going to put my battery right back where it was, except now I'm going to smush it down. And if I push it too far and it touches the other wire on the side, it's not going to work. So I'm going to push down, activate that glue dot, and that is our base. Okay, that's our base. All right, we have our base. Oh, we're not quite done with our base. We're going to do one more thing. So we have this piece of metal. Somebody who designed this did an excellent job of creating a little spot for this guy. I don't know who designed this, but pretty awesome. Matt designed this. Okay. This is double-sided tape. We don't want to touch it either. It's got a little piece of paper protecting the sticky side. So I'm going to peel this paper off without touching it. And then this is all on the back side. You know, one of the things you want to make sure is that you put the LED on the front, not the back. Should have said that before. I showed it before. Now this we're going to place right above the battery. Okay? And then we're going to smush it in. Now, if you wanted to, you can put the magnet on here. Now, see, the thing with the magnet is just like this, you can attach it to a refrigerator or anything metal, and it will stick, even though the magnet is sticking to this as well. But really what this is for is you can put this on the outside of your shirt, kind of like if this were your shirt, and then you put the magnet behind it, and then it kind of stays there. Pretty cool, right? All right. So what you have to be careful of is when you take this off, the magnet drops, and people lose the magnet. So don't lose the magnet. Now, if your light stops blinking, you can futz with this. Just don't bend these wires too much because they'll break off. Okay? You have a few LEDs, but you only have one changing color LED. Okay? All right. So that's ready. We're ready. For now, we're done with the glue dots. Okay. Now, what am I doing with the Shrinky Dink stuff? Well, this is what we're going to do. You are going to take a piece of paper. I'm sorry, guys. I got to move you. And you are going to draw a little picture. I'm going to draw a little flower. A little flower. Now, how small is that little flower going to be when I make it into a Shrinky Dink? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace that flower. And I know it doesn't look like it. I mean, that's not a good flower. We need to have a circle in there. And we're going to add some color. But that flower is going to get super tiny. So let's talk about tiny, okay? If I draw something that's this big, okay, and that's about 4.5 inches by about 1.5 inches. Can you see it? It's going to get this big. That's how much it's going to shrink. It's going to shrink down that much. I think you can see it. Let's put the light in a better spot. Does that help? I don't know if that helps. Okay. I'll put the light back. I don't think that helped. All right, so what we're going to do is we want your name. Okay, so you're going to write your name, and you can take as much time as you want to do this. And I'm going to write an M. You do not have to do it like me. You can do it however you want. And I like using the black colored pencil, but I don't need to color it in, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace it. Oh, I forgot a very important step. The colored pencils won't work on the Shrinky Dink material unless you do something first. Now, what you can also use on the Shrinky Dink material are permanent Sharpies. Colored Sharpies, for example, will work great on the shiny material. But the shiny Shrinky Dink material, first, you have to sand it. So I'm going to sand just the part. I'm roughing up the surface so that I can use my pencils. And the color from the pencil will come off and go on the Shrinky Dink material. Now, you don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to trace it like I'm doing, but there's no do-over on the Shrinky Dink material. You do have a big piece, but that's the only piece that you have. So I like doing my designs on paper and then tracing it on in case I make a mistake. Because I have lots of pieces of paper, but only one piece of Shrinky Dink material. So I like to trace also the outlines in a dark color. And I'm just going to do the M for now. So I'm going to take my tracing paper and put it over there. And I'm going to take this red and color it in. Now, what I am doing is I am making my name. And I'm actually going to do one more letter because I need one more letter to show you a trick that I like to do. And I know this video is going kind of long, but stay with me. You can always do steps at a time and pause the video. So I'm going to color in. You can do this however you want, and you can blend these colors. You could use the permanent Sharpies if you have them at home. Be careful because they're permanent. Don't be making, you know, tattoos on your body. Parents are not going to like that. Whoever your parental units happen to be. All right, so we're almost done with the blue. All right, so the trick I want to show you is you will need some scissors. I should have said that sooner. Scissors are needed for this step. I'm going to cut the Shrinky Dink material out, and I'm doing a rough cut on the outside first. Okay, and I have a whole bunch of Shrinky Dink to do on the next one. Now I'm going to trim it. Now you could just do this. You could shrink that right there and be done, but I'm going to trim it down, and I'm going to show you my trick here. I like to do some cutouts. You don't have to be super precise either, because this is going to really shrink down, and if you mess up, it probably hides most of the stuff. You know, most of the, if you made a mistake or something, you cut a little too much out of Matt's M. I mean, you wouldn't be doing the Matt's M, I don't think. Would you? Maybe you would. Okay. Now the trick is you see how I am leaving them kind of connected. So it's an M and an A, but there's a clear part that's connecting them, okay? So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna put this in the oven at 335 degrees. Okay, so I found some foil. Here's my foil. I can show you how to make a little boat. So here's my Shrinky Dink. It's pre-shrunk. Well, it's before being shrunk. We're just gonna make a little tray. So take one of your pieces of foil, or you can use foil at home, it doesn't matter. This doesn't have to be perfect. Mostly what this is for, this stuff doesn't stick to the oven, usually. Might, so make one of these, but mostly what this is for is so you don't lose it, because your pieces are gonna get tiny. So we're gonna put your Shrinky Dink in the foil, and then we're gonna put it in the oven for about 3 minutes. So let's go do that, and I'll be back. Alexa, start a timer for 2.5 minutes. Okay, we're back from the oven and have our Shrinky Dink. You should let it cool. Let it cool for a few minutes because it's going to be hot. Now you can see how much that shrank. Do you remember? Look at that. The M and the A. I traced this, so that's how big they were, and they shrank down. Now, one of the other things that happens with the Shrinky Dink, let's take, maybe if I go like this. Is the color from the pencil didn't look so bright, and now it really darkens up and gets bright. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to attach this. Now this is only MA, doesn't have my TT, so you would do your whole name. We'd like to have at least your name on there. We're going to take another glue dot. Another glue dot. Remember to hold it on the piece of plastic. Take off the paper, hold on the piece of plastic. And we're going to attach the glue dot to the back of one of the letters here. Smush it in, peel it off. And now you can attach it to somewhere on your name tag. And that's how you do Shrinky Dink. And you can do all kinds of different designs. You can trace things. You can just do art and shrink them down. You can stick a whole bunch of them to your name tag. I have only done 2 of my glue dots. I still have another 10. And you have plenty of film. Okay. Have fun with Shrinky Dinks, the name tag.